friend and I did some need of cheering up. So from our respective homes, we created pieces that we shared together through images on our cell phones. And in that time of sharing, we offered suggestions to each other on what we were seeing. Kathy made an abstract piece using shades of grays, blues, olive green, with just the slightest hint of yellow tucked in. I studied it for a bit before responding with my suggestion to the aesthetic change that I felt it was missing. I don't know, maybe it's the season that we're in. It was Good Friday. It was gray outside. It was cold and windy. And we were socially distanced from each other. You know, we're each now a part of a new generation experiencing a global pandemic. I looked at her created image. Kathy, yellow. It needs a heavier go on yellow. When I was serving a congregation in Northern Virginia several years ago, one of their long-standing traditions is the annual Easter sunrise service. Come rain, shine, sleet, or snow, and we had each of those. On the Saturday before Easter, three of the, I guess I would call them younger men, at least those who still had good backs, would go over to the church basement and they would carry outside the wooden cross, the one that had been designed to replicate the good cross, the Good Friday cross of Jesus. It was something like 8 feet tall and 6 feet long from end to end, although it weighed a lot less than the estimated 300-pound cross that Jesus carried. These men at Woodbridge placed it facing east on the outside of our building. On Easter Sunday morning, we would gather at that cross with lawn chairs, sometimes winter jackets and blankets, and we would gather there 15 to 20 minutes before sunrise, where together we would read scriptures, we would offer our prayers, and we would wait. And then what seemed like clockwork, that rising sun would begin to break through the clouds and make its way up over the horizon until in full splendor, it drenched that old cross in this beautiful, magnificent cascade of bright yellow light. It was Easter once again. I would like you to remember with me Matthew's account of what happened after Jesus had been entombed. The chief priests and the Pharisees gathered before Pilate. They went there to ask Pilate a favor. Could he secure the tomb to be made even more secure until the third day, just in case Jesus' disciples would go and steal him away and tell the people that he had been risen from the dead, creating, of course, yet another fraud for Pilate's people. Well, as a surprise to the disciples, as a surprise to the church leaders, as a surprise to the priests and the Pharisees, Pilate granted them their wish and sent them on their way to secure the grave as best they could. I imagine those priests and those Pharisees had two good reasons to be afraid. First, just as they spoke to Pilate, their spoken fear was the fear of a religious hoax. But the second fear, the one more likely, is that they wanted that tomb locked and bolted because within them was a silent fear that what if the man whom they had crucified would really come back to life again as he had promised? What if that body or some new version of it would begin breathing again, to stand up in its grave clothes, to move forward in unspeakable power? I mean, after all, how do frightened people secure the world against miracles? How do soldiers keep the sun from shining? There are, of course, a variety of views on what actually happened at the resurrection of Jesus. And I'm afraid that the scriptures don't spell that out for us because no one witnessed it in real time. But what we do know is that somehow Jesus got up. He got up with life in him again, and the glory of God shone upon him. He got up and he said, "Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, rich man. Don't be afraid, poor woman. Don't be afraid, you who are sick. Don't be afraid, scared child. Don't be afraid, you who are lost." And then he said this, "Feed my sheep, feed my lambs." You see, fear and anxiety are a real part of the human condition. Fear and anxiety are what we know best because the weight of the world seems to offer us these gigantic, oversized doses of hopelessness. We hear tragic news, and then we spin ourselves into a near panic when our own lives begin feeling out of control. It is difficult in this age of fast communication to hear the good news, even when it's spoken. But here it is, the good news. Here is the yellow in your life. Easter is a surging power that touches all of life, creating a brand new horizon, a new surging possibility, new gestures to the lame, new ways of relating in a fearful world, new life that comes dancing and singing and praising the power beyond all of the controlled powers. You see, in the Easter story, power for life is unloosed. We can choose the newness that God is working in us and through us, even in a time such as this. Poet Anne Weems has written, "The earth is filled with the tears of God, but the earth is also filled with the people of God, as many as all the stars in the sky." So then go and proclaim it, my friends. Go and share with the world that the end is life. And give yellow a heavier go because hope abounds. God is with us today, tomorrow, and always until the end of time. Live Easter every day. Amen.